All right, that's fine. Peace, peace, peace and blessings, everyone. Maurice here with Friends of the Congo. Um, Here to give you the latest update on what's unfolding in the east of the Congo. And also get a word from Kinshasa. We have our brother Kilim Mali with us, trying to fix his phone. And he's reporting from the front lines directly from Goma. We also have Brother Passy. Passy's in Kinshasa. He can give us a sense of what's happening there in Kinshasa. President Tshisekedi returned to the country. He was at Davos, hobnobbing with the global elites, while Rwandan military and its M23 militia capture more territory in the east of Congo. So, Kilim Mali, let's get to it while we have on. Guess we don't know how long you'll be on. Just give us a sense of what's happening. There's a lot that has taken place today in the city of Goma. So, and I know you've been speaking to a wide range of folks in and outside government, military, and so forth. So, can you share with us what the latest is? Did we lose you? Are you still there, Kilim Mali? Can you hear me? Kilim Mali is with us live from Goma. Where the latest reports from Goma is, according to Radio Okapi and Virunga Energies, that supply electricity for the city, is that electricity has been cut. Cellular phone service has been interrupted. Internet is unstable. And that's as it relates to the infrastructure around the telecommunications. We're fortunate enough to have Kilim Mali on with us, provided that he can hear us. I know we were talking a little bit back room before we came on. Brother Passy, while we try and get Kilim Mali on.
Thank you.
Oh, go ahead, Kilim Mali. Yes, go ahead. Go ahead, Kilim Mali. Kilim Mali is one of a number of journalists from the front lines of the conflict, right there in Goma. Goma, a city that's pretty much encircled by the Rwandan military and its M23 militia. Brother Kilim Mali, we see you moving. Go ahead. You can share with us what's happening in Goma right now.
Thank you so much. I don't know if you still hear me, but the first news I can say is that the Goma is in the death right now because as you can know, probably not all listeners, but we lost today the governor, the military governor, who were the governor of North Kivu province, and he died in condition which until now it's not, we don't know until now exactly what happened and what really happened to make a major general like him to be in the front and to be killed, to have some shot from we don't know where, and he were injured, and after being injured, right now he were sent to Kinshasa to get some medicine and some help, but he finally died. The other news is you can see that we are in the dark, and me, I'm lucky to have some light using some electrical light only to participate on this live. Is that the Goma town right now is in the dark because we have 100% of two society which provide electricity in Goma right now are not in capacity to produce any electricity to Goma town. Every time, everywhere, it's very dark, and there is no energy for people. for people and for hospital and even strategic and humanitarian institution. There is also no water because most of the time to put water into taps, it taking some energy, and if there is no energy, there is no solution. And the latest about the humanitarian situation is that there still be some intern displacement people who are coming from camps and are coming in the town without any help and any support from
Mm.
government and NGOs right now.
Uh, So, Kilim Mali, with the killing of you know Major General Chirimwami in Cuba, uh, that was done on the battlefield. We heard that he was killed in Sake? Is that the case? And just for people to understand that North Kivu is under a state of siege or a state of emergency, so it's being run by the military, and this is the military governor of the North Kivu province, where we have the city of Goma. So he's the main uh, military person in charge of the province. Is that correct?
Yes, exactly. Because you have to know that we have some years President Tshisekedi declared the state of siege in the province of North Kivu and Ituri, and in that period he decided to make these province to make military authorities, and we get military government, and those military government tried to give peace. And yesterday in the
Mhm.
context, the governor Peter Nkuba Chirimwami, he's a major general from the Congolese army who worked on some topics like development and other topics, because there are so many people who were asked him to go on the field and to try to solve the situation, even if Kinshasa withdraw him as the official, as a commander of operation in North Kivu, as expected. But yesterday he tried, because there is a lot of rumors that the M23 is going to Goma, and the
Mhm.
governor and so many authorities went in Kinshasa and in other area. So
Mhm.
him as a leader, he organized a kind of trip with some journalists and me. I were in that trip with journalists which went with him, but there is only military press which finally enter until the last line around Kasengesi, and
Mhm.
it's there at Kasengesi where he were injured. We don't know when, and we don't know in exactly which condition he were injured or right now, but he were injured, and after having some emergency help in a local hospital. He were evacuated yesterday in the night by the airplane from the Goma to Kinshasa, and
Mhm.
for authorities in Kinshasa, he died in a hospital in Kinshasa.
I see. So he was evacuated from Goma to Kinshasa after he suffered injury on
Exactly,
the
by
battlefield.
airplane.
I see. I see.
Mm.
So is that well known among the population that the Major General has succumbed to his injuries among the population in Goma? Are they aware?
So in Goma, it's people are really sad and are really uh, in danger. There is so many person who are saying that right now we have no electricity, we have no water, we have no governor. and we have no authorities. And in Goma, it's condemnation about what is going on, about how Kinshasa is trying to solve this problem, because you have to know that at this time, when the clash between the M23 and the
We may have lost Kilim Mali for a moment there. He will he'll come back in. We got Brother Passy is back. Passy with us.
Hello, can you hear me?
Oh yes, go ahead, Kilim Mali. Continue. Yes, we can hear you, Kilim Mali. He may have frozen.
I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, yes, we can hear you. Yes.
Can I continue?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Thank you so much. I said that the population is very upset about what is going on, because you have to know that when this happened, when this fight of the M23 against Sake, to try to take control of Sake and Goma, the M23 tried, when the president himself were not here in DRC, he were in Davos for the economic forum, the economic forum in Davos. We have also the president of the parliament, which were in Vietnam. We had of the country. We had also that the foreign minister also were
We lost your sound there a little bit, Kilim Mali.
in Davos, and after in New York. So people are saying that they don't really take care about what is going on, and they are only taking care about
We're having a little bit of problems with Kilim Mali's sound there. Passy, share with us what folks are saying in Kinshasa. President Tshisekedi came back to Kinshasa. As Passy said, the foreign minister was out of the country, president of the parliament. What's how are folks responding to the crisis and that's unfolding in the east of the Congo in Kinshasa?
Yes, thank you. I hope you can hear me.
other topics. We because
can you hear me?
Yes,
brother?
we can hear. Go ahead. You can speak until Kilim Mali gets back online. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Go
it
ahead.
was just around 2 to 3 p.m. this afternoon when I had a picture. I got a picture from folks, from relatives in Goma, showing the death of late Governor Kilim Mali. And that's when I was in touch. I contacted Brother Akili, and he was also on the ground, grounding as a journalist. He had to be in contact with the population. And that's when I was with students. I remember we were preparing a ceremony with the Lumumba, so in a lot of the Lumumba program. And then I started us calling Brother Akili from here in Kinshasa up to Goma, and I was asking the students, I was like, do you know what is happening in Goma? And my surprise is that they didn't know, most of them. And after some hours, and the death of the governor was declared so officially. So there is a kind of disconnection from the population here in Goma, and what is in Kinshasa.
Okay, we lost Passy as well, and that's going to happen throughout. We're just fortunate to get any kind of connection, either with Passy or with Kilim Mali. Passy's in Kinshasa. Kilim Mali is in Goma. Kinshasa is in the west of the country, the opposite side of the Congo, and the Kilim Mali is in the east, right in the heart of right on the front lines of the war that's being waged against the Congolese people by the Rwandan military and its proxy, the M23. Brother Passy, you're back. You're sharing with us what the disconnect that you see between Kinshasa and Goma. I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me, Passy?
Yeah. I hope you can hear me, bro.
Yes. A thumbs up means I can hear you.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes. Okay. So where Passy went out for a little bit. So just a series of developments. One, again, the Major General, the head of North Kivu province, the military, basically military and civilian head, because the North Kivu province is under a state of siege, a state of emergency. It's been that way for, I think, going on about 3 years now. And the military head that's been assigned to lead the North Kivu province, he was shot on the battlefield. He's suffered injuries, and from what Kilim Mali shared, he was taken. It was in around Sake. That's the report that we're seeing, where it said the epicenter of the latest battle between really the Rwandan soldiers, it's M23 militia. The United Nations mission is there, battling them as well in Sake, and the Southern African Development Community forces, led by the South Africans, and then of course the Congolese military. And Sake is about 15 miles or so from Goma, and it's really the last enclosure or entry point into Goma. The Rwandan military and its M23 militia pretty much got Goma surrounded from the east all the way around to the west, and east, north, and west. And the south of Goma is Lake Kivu. So the only place as people have left to go is into the lake. That's it. Brother Passy, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Passy?
Yeah, I can hardly hear. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, we hear you fine. Just speak. Go ahead. We hear you just fine.
Yes, I was talking about the disconnection between what is happening in Goma and here. Hey, brother.
Yes, continue, please. Okay. So when Passy comes back on, he can give us a view from Kinshasa. So that's one, the lay of the land. Electricity has been cut. Phone service has been disrupted. Internet's been disrupted. As you saw from Kilim Mali, Goma is in the dark. The leader, the military / civilian leader of North Kivu, he was killed, and there's a pitched battle taking place at Sake, just 15 miles outside of Goma, and there are other activities taking place as well that we'll share more, both in Kinshasa. The president of the Congo, Felix Tshisekedi, who was at Davos, the World Economic Forum with the global elites. He had to rush back to the Congo. He and John Kerry, who's I guess his title is a climate czar for the United States. They were at Davos, and they were unveiling this green project running from Goma, of all places, from Virunga in the east, all the way to Kinshasa. They call it the Green Corridor, where they're talking about preserving this patch. It's more than a patch, really. It's this space that runs through the Congo Basin rainforest as a key point of preservation for combating the climate crisis. So President Tshisekedi was at Davos giving that presentation. And of course, he was being criticized by opposition figures in the country, by the population for being absent, while the Rwandan military and its M23 militia were on the verge of taking the capital of the North Kivu province, Goma. It's got about a population of 2 million people or so. Tshisekedi arrived back in the Congo. He was with his ministers meeting. And Brother Pasi, can you hear me? They're meeting in Kinshasa.
Yes, I can hear.
Yes,
I hope you can hear me too.
Yes, we can hear you. And Pasi was in the process of sharing with us what's happening in Kinshasa, how the disconnect that he's observed. Go ahead, Pasi. Continue speaking about what's happening in Kinshasa in relation to the occupation of Eastern Congo by Rwanda.
Yeah.
Continue.
Yes, the disconnect is explained by the fact that our leaders, political leaders, are more interested in meetings, international meetings, and forums. So they share more time going abroad and looking for arrangements rather than maybe going on the ground. And the population here doesn't know what is happening. It was a surprise for me to see the picture of late governor of the North Kivu province. And that's when I asked Brother Kili about the situation, if it was true that the governor died. He told me that he had no answer or no evidence, and I had to wait. So it was around 2 to 3 p.m. that this happened, and they brought him back in Kinshasa for some treatment, and unfortunately he died. So you know.
So that was Pasi. We'll get him back at some point. He'll be in and out, so that's to be expected. I hope we'll get a Kilim Mali back as well. Have a situation where Governor General has passed. He was killed on the battlefield. We have the president who's back in Kinshasa, and the foreign minister of the DRC is requested an emergency meeting of the UN Security Council in New York. So we see a flurry of activities, and in an effort to try and mitigate the fallout from this onslaught of people in Goma. The United Nations issued an appeal earlier today calling for the M23, the Rwandan military, to cease its assault and trying to share with them to not take the city of Goma. If some of those of you who follow the situation in the Congo, you know that in 2012, that the same Rwandan military, same M23, captured the city of Goma. And it was the capturing of the city of Goma, occupying the city of Goma for about a week or so, that prompted then President Obama to withhold military aid from the Rwandan government, something that we as advocates been advocating for some level of accountability. And European nations followed suit to withhold tens of millions of dollars from the Rwandan government. Rwanda, as much as it trumpets self-sufficiency and self-determination, about 40% of its budget is financed from outside by the West. So there's leverage that Western nations have over Paul Kagame and the Rwandan government. And then President Obama exercised that leverage, even though it was tepid. It was enough to really ultimately lead to the defeat and retreat of the M23, withdrawal of Rwandan soldiers from the occupation of Goma. Now today, Rwanda and its military has gone about it a little differently. They've basically systematically cut off routes leading out of Goma to the point where the city is encircled. And the last point of entry, really, realistic point of entry, Sake, which is about 15 miles away, the Rwandan soldiers and its M23 militia are trying to enter Goma from there to ultimately capture the city again. The only route out for the people is through the lake and Lake Kivu, which is in the south of the country. So what we have is people who are fleeing because bombs are dropping in displacement camps. People have been displaced. The Bulengo, for example, and Rosayo, two major displacement camps. Bulengo is the largest displacement camp there in the east. The people who were displaced from their villages are now occupied by Rwandan soldiers and M23 are now being displaced. And the displacement camps at Bulengo and Rosayo are on the outskirts of the city of Goma. So they're packing up and heading into the city. Organizations, international organizations, are leaving altogether. They're going out through the border in Gisenyi into Rwanda. The U.S. State Department had issued an alert for its personnel to leave, and travel advisory against going to Goma. You have some people who have the means, able to leave and get on a ferry and head towards Bukavu in South Kivu. Some people are able to leave others are able to leave, like those working with the international NGOs and crossing Gisenyi into Rwanda. So basically, the city of Goma, for all intents and purposes, is under siege, right? No electricity, no water, shortage of food, because all of the supply lines that would bring food into the city of Goma has been cut, right? So people could literally be starved out. No water, electricity, food, mobile phone cut, internet. As you saw with the Kilim Mali, he was on earlier. He was in the dark, and by the grace, he had some connectivity to share with us. So it's really a dire situation that's unfolding, as you've seen over the last few days. Reports from Kilim Mali on the ground. We were going to have another one of our comrades report today, Omonde Williams, but he's like, I just can't connect, and I got to look about my family, make sure my family's okay, and it's a urgent situation. We've been getting calls, messages to the extent that we can from folks requesting support, requesting that some kind of assistance, whatever it is that can be provided, which we have been providing to our partners. But as you all know, the problem is such that the scale of it is just is biblical in scale, really. It's just you have millions of people who are in desperate conditions, who have fled war, and the war has followed them, and now they really have nowhere else to go. Nowhere else to go. Only place left for them to go is into the water, into Lake Kivu. So the DRC foreign minister rightly called for an emergency session at the UN Security Council. Maximum pressure needs to be put on the Rwandan government because they can stop this. It's the latest UN report coming out in early January or mid-January stated that there are 4,000 soldiers, at least estimated 4,000 Rwandan soldiers. Some say the Rwandan soldiers in the Congo outnumber the so-called M23. And the report also went on to say that Rwanda was in full control of operations and logistics and tactics of the M23. They're at the head, and you know we knew this. This is a way it was in 2012 as well. So the now it is so critical, and the diplomats know this. The US, people in the U.S. government know this. And the European know this. The European Union know this. UK government knows this. France, there are reports coming out that France is one of the obstacles for some kind of pressure being put on Kagame, because Paul Kagame, whose government, by the way, his former foreign minister, Louise Mushikiwabo, heads up the Francophonie. She's the Secretary General of the Francophonie. That's the France's soft power in Africa and elsewhere. It's basically a neo-colonial entity. So over the years, Paul Kagame has grown tight with Emmanuel Macron, and he has farmed out his soldiers as a mercenary force to French corporate interests, particularly in Mozambique, in the Cabo Delgado region, where Rwandan soldiers are protecting concessions, natural gas concessions for Total Energies. And in return for that, Kagame is being rewarded. Macron impressed upon the European Union to disburse funds to Kagame's government. I think 20 million in 2023, another 20 million or so euros in 2024. And at the same time, now this is to show you the complicity, right? The complicity of Western powers, as Rwanda is occupying Congo, as they are unleashing a militia force on the Congolese people, displaced millions of Congolese, women being raped, children being executed. As Rwanda is doing this, the European Union enters into a critical minerals agreement with the Rwandan government. They enter into a critical minerals agreement with the Rwandan government. It was just reported that Rwandan military and its M23 captured the largest coltan mine, Rubaya, in eastern Congo in this latest military offensive. So he's being rewarded every step along the way, right? So this is not just a M23 question. It's not just a Rwandan military or Paul Kagame question. It's a Emmanuel Macron question. It's a European Union question. It's a US government question. They're all complicit in the disaster, the catastrophic situation that we see unfolding in the east of the Congo, right? So we can do something about that. There are pressure points. We say, several things. One, as long as Rwanda is occupying the DRC, displacing people, we all ought to be out occupying Rwandan embassies everywhere. We have the young people in the UK today. They were out from the Rwandan embassy. We'll be back ourselves in DC. We were out from the Rwandan embassy in 2024, and we'll be back. And we're encouraging people as a way of putting pressure on the Rwandan government. As long as they're occupying Congo, their embassies ought to be occupied. They ought to be out front, making noise in front of their embassies. Two, Rwanda has got a massive campaign. Visit Rwanda. If you watch any Arsenal football game, you'll see on their jerseys, visit Rwanda. So we're saying don't visit Rwanda. Not only that, don't visit Rwanda, but call on the Arsenal to cease its Arsenal football team to cease its relationship with the Rwandan government. As long as Rwanda is occupying Congo, displacing women and children, instrumentalizing a militia that's raping women, executing children, that there shouldn't be any sports washing, right? Same for the National Basketball Association, who's in bed with the Rwandan government. Brother Passy, looks like we got you on pretty solidly. Maybe you can continue and share with us the view from Kinshasa, so sharing with folks what people can do in terms of joining activists who are occupying the Rwandan embassy, demonstrating from the Rwandan embassy, calling on National Basketball Association, Arsenal football team to cease its support of Rwanda, amplifying the voices of the Congolese people and others who say don't visit Rwanda, in contradiction to the Rwandan government campaign where they're encouraging people to come and visit Rwanda. No, don't visit Rwanda, not as long as they're occupying the Congo and causing mass atrocities in the Congo. The United Nations says that in its 2010 UN mapping exercise report, that if Rwandan soldiers were to be brought in front of a competent court, they could be charged for crimes of genocide in the Congo. That's what the United Nations mapping exercise report says about the Rwandan military and its operations. So Paul Kagame and his officials, the red carpet is rolled out for him in Washington. There are universities in the United States that invite them in. Some of them even invite him in to speak about democracy in Africa. You know, this is a guy who won the last, quote unquote, won the last elections with 99.9%, something, yeah, 99.9% of the votes, right? And they call it, the U.S. calls that a democracy. So the political and diplomatic cover that United States, United Kingdom, European Union, France, have all given to Paul Kagame of Rwanda has redound to the destruction of Congolese life in Eastern Congo. No accountability, rampant impunity, no justice, and the only way Kagame, and to some extent Yoweri Museveni of Uganda, have been able to perpetrate this 3-decade war of aggression and plunder against the Congolese people is with the support of his Western backers. Brother Passy, let's see if we can get you in while you're on. Just share us a little bit more what's unfolding in Kinshasa, how people are viewing what's happening to their kith and kin in Goma.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, brother, I was talking about the disconnection and from the political leaders, the president who promised the population of Goma that he would even die for the keeping of peace in Goma and to make to put his siege, his headquarters in Goma in order to bring about peace, but he has never been there since the M23 rebels attacked, except during the campaign. He went there, but he didn't go before that time. Then he's waiting for
Okay, we lost Passy again. Hopefully he'll come back. Those action items that I'm sharing with you, we encourage you to go to Free Congo, freecongo.org. If you want to take action, if you want to support the folks on the front lines. Folks are trying to run to safety, flee to safety, and they're asking for our support. We've been sending resources to the ground to the extent that we can. So we encourage you to join us in supporting women and children and those who are fleeing. Our brothers and sisters in the Basanjo Coalition, they've been stepping up to provide support to those in their network. Brother Passy, hopefully we can get you on to complete what you're saying. Again, go to freecongo.org if you want to take action, you want to get involved, you want to join the movement, you want to support.
Yes, I was talking about.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry for the connection. It's not stable. So also the population here in Kinshasa is not connected, not knowing what is going on. So there was also a problem of the network.
Mm. Yeah, as you said, the problem of the network. So you can imagine the challenges that they face trying to communicate in a country that is the quintessential example of the, the destruction that colonialism has wreaked on a nation. The colonial legacy in the Congo is very much intact, where it's got spectacular wealth in its soil that produces 70% of the cobalt that's needed to power the green energy transition. 60% or so of the coltan, the third largest producer of copper, another key transitional mineral. And in a very short order, they'll become second largest producer and have their scope of the largest producers of copper in the world. Economists say there's an estimated $24 trillion worth of wealth in the Congo. But you have 70 million people or so living on less than $2.15 a day, of 70 million of the 110 million. And so when we're talking about a colonial legacy, we see it, we're experiencing it in real time. In terms of the infrastructure, it's not only a lack of road infrastructure, lack of communications infrastructure, and even when you do get it, it's like this. We're constantly being interrupted. Brother Passy, I know it's late there. It's past midnight or close to midnight for you. So thank you for staying up with us. We're not going to stay on much longer because the connection is not that strong. But if you can say, if you're able to say a few words before you cut out again.
Yeah, very sorry. Yeah, so we need to mobilize the population in Kinshasa because we people we came from Goma and Bukavu, we are more connected spiritually, and we're connected to the situation because we grew up in this situation. And the conflict in Goma is affecting Bukavu because Minova and Sake are near Bukavu, and the Kivu Lake is also the means of transportation, and you cannot use the car to leave the South Kivu province, Bukavu, to go to Goma. So this situation affects our families. But the population in Kinshasa also needs to be more interested in what is happening, and we know that there is the problem of infrastructures of our army, but we really need to be informed to know what is happening. So more people here in Kinshasa, they feel like they are not directly concerned about what is happening, except we people who have relatives. You know, you can see how people are starving now. So Bukavu relies on what the food coming from Goma, for example. There is no communication between South Kivu province and North Kivu province, but all these informations should be, discussed, and the population, especially young people, should know how this functions. But I made a conjectural analysis and going from the historical background, so saying that how this movement came, and with the Bosco Taganda, team, how this conflict rooted in 2012. So 2012, how they started with their agreements with the army. The problem is also the kind of infiltration in our army. How can the governor go just on the front line and be, fell in ambush? You see, this is another kind of conspiracy. So they cannot reach Goma without having people and their agents in the Goma town. So we should really need to have a strong army with high technology system, and also there is a kind of bourgeoisie. So people they are there. They're integrating the army. They're having positions, but we don't have people like late Mamadou Ndala who are fighting really for fighting for for the dignity, integrity of the nation. So this comes from the good education. Like Thomas Sankara used to say, that a soldier without an ideological training. We young Congolese people, we don't need to integrate an army. Why? Because there is a kind of a capitalism and a kind of a search for interest and discriminations. Once you need to fight for the people, and fight for the dignity of the country, you'll be attacked by those in the army who are for their own interests. And remember that there are collaborations. They cannot reach those places without being in contact with some officers in our army. And this is what we are denouncing. They send people there on the ground, but it is more important to prepare these soldiers and to have good institutions, because the kind of soldiers, militaries that we are having today, they are not really trained as far as ideology. You can say they're coming from backgrounds, so most of them are criminals. Remember that most of these officers, they were jailed and they were engaging in wars, and then sent back to our army. This is a situation. So this should start from schools. That's why we are really working on the ideological training. And I was surprised, like a teacher, and talking with folks that, so, do you know what is happening now in Goma? They are not even interested. They don't know what is happening.
So Passy was Passy himself is from the South Kivu province. So when he speaks about the region, he's speaking about it. He experienced the wars, the 96 and 98. Yes, the Congolese media is reporting on it. Congolese media is. There's a question that came in about whether Congolese media is reporting on what's happening. They certainly are. Radio Okapi and a number of other media outlets in the Congo are reporting on what's unfolding. People are asking what they can do, and share the Free Congo. If you go to freecongo.org, you see immediate actions that you can take. Right now, we're providing support to people who are, as many of you, if you follow us, we work with the mamas of Bulengo. They're at Yole Ecologia. They're in the Bulengo displacement camp, along with Synergie des Femmes. They're also there. They're right in the heart of the camp. So they've all had to uproot and move. So we're sending some financial resources to assist them in moving, purchasing tents, acquiring food, transportation, so that they can move out of harm's way, because they say that bombs are dropping in and around the camps, and it's just not safe there. So that's the first line of support that we've been providing, sending funds to the ground, and we hope that everything will be okay tomorrow, in the sense that they can access and money transfer places and get those funds to support the women. We call for a boycott of Rwanda. If we're gonna do something, it can't be episodic. What we're saying is, right now we're calling for people to be out supporting those of us who are demonstrating in front of the Rwandan embassy. We're calling for people to put pressure on football team like Arsenal. We're calling for people to put pressure on the National Basketball Association. ESPN did a investigative report on the collusion of the NBA with Paul Kagame and the Rwandan government in really a sports washing undertaking. We're saying to folks, Rwanda has a massive PR campaign where it's going around the world and saying, visit Rwanda. We're saying, don't visit Rwanda. As long as Rwandan soldiers occupy Congo and displacing Congolese women and children, don't visit Rwanda. So those are some of the steps. reach out to some of your entertainers. Kendrick Lamar was recently in Rwanda. It's a way that Paul Kagame gains legitimacy by tapping into cultural icons in the United States. Kendrick Lamar recently performed in Rwanda. Hit him up and say, hey, Kendrick, you know, your boy in Kigali is killing folks in the Congo, displacing women and children. You know, you obviously have a direct connection to him. So hit him up and say, what's going on, Mr. President, Mr. Kagame? I hear that you're, you know, committing war crimes, crimes against humanity, violating international law by occupying a foreign country. I just came and performed in Kigali, and it doesn't look, it's not a good look. You know, folks are asking me, you know, are you like them? You know, so we want to hear from you, Kendrick Lamar. Dave Chappelle just performed. He just performed on Saturday Night Live, talking about the Trump administration and what the humanity, appealing to the humanity of Donald Trump. So we can hit up Dave Chappelle and say, Mr. Chappelle, are you able to appeal to the humanity of Paul Kagame? You just performed in Kigali. So these are things that we can do right away. You know, they're on social media. They're connected. They're following what's going on. Arsenal, NBA, Kendrick Lamar. These are pressure points supporting our efforts. So we'll be letting you know where the folks will be demonstrating in front of Rwandan embassies in different parts of the world. The young people in the UK, young Congolese, were in front of the Rwandan embassy earlier today. So those are some of the things that you can do right away. And you can go to Free Congo, freecongo.org, sign up there to get involved, to take action. Just go to freecongo.org. Well, we're gonna sign off. It's been we've been at this. It's been a long day. And please pray for our brothers and sisters in Goma. Wish I could put up a map now, but they're entirely surrounded. The Rwandan soldiers, the United Nations says about 4,000 Rwandan soldiers, more Rwandan soldiers than the M23 militia that they control, have surrounded the city of Goma, a population of about 2 million people. Only place that the people have left to go, the masses left to go, is in the water, Lake Kivu. That's the only outlet. Everything else is cut out. And the one last point of entry, Sake. You have the Southern African Development Community forces, United Nations forces, Congolese military, fighting against the Rwandan soldiers and its M23 militia. The Congolese foreign minister has called for an emergency session in the National Security Council. The president of the DRC, President Tshisekedi, has gone back from Davos, where he is hobnobbing with the global elites, back to Kinshasa. Vital Kamerhe, who was in the east, the head of the parliament, he's apparently back in Kinshasa. But there's so much more that can be done on the part of the Congolese government, which is part of the problem. Its inability to exercise authority over its territory. And in some instances, really, if you really look at it, some people say that it's a lack of willingness or a lack of competence in dealing with this matter. But be that as it may, that doesn't entitle Paul Kagame to send his soldiers into the Congo to occupy territory in violation of international law. The Rwandan government is in violation of international law right now. You know, we saw the Congolese government, I don't know, they brought suit against Apple or something like that. I don't know how that's going to lift the occupation of Bunagana and a number of other areas in the east that the Rwandan military is occupied. So in any case, freecongo.org people, thank you so much. Stay tuned. We'll get as many updates from the ground as we can, as we're able to connect, whether it's people in Kinshasa, people in Goma. We had Kilim Mali on. Check out his reports. He just, on our Instagram page, he just released a report this morning about what's happening, and also on our Twitter page, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Congo Friends. You can get Kilim Mali's reports, and he'll be sending us reports. Even if he's not able to be on live, he'll find some way. And thanks to you, really, those of you who supported us with your donations and your contributions, we've been able to equip Kilim Mali for situations just like this, these, where he's able to get necessary equipment in order to be in communication with us, and that's a direct result of your support in supporting our reporters. And he's not the only reporter, there's a network of reporters on the front lines. So continue to support the Kilim Mali, continue to support the mamas of Yola Ecologia, mamas of Synergy de Femmes, and you can do that at freecongo.org. So thank you, and we'll be back. All right, be well. Thanks, Brother Kito.